morning. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. What's different this morning is that we're using a laptop. And we'll be conducting the meeting using less fidelity, meaning we don't have video. We just have audio. And with that, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
When I answer this question to me about recording, what I see is it's encouraged to make an audio recording. Statute says we shall promptly record the meeting, and I think that's subject to interpretation. I interpret we record the minutes in the record and not make a recording. So we're doing more than what is technically required by recording the audio.
All right. Thank you, John. So let's get to it. First thing I'd like to do is move on to the agenda. Are there any changes or modifications to the agenda?
Commissioners, yes.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
If I may,
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next is a consent agenda.
Commissioners, can
where
you
we're
hear
approving
me?
the minutes of our last regular meeting, as well as a special commission meeting on September 5th. So that's August 26th.
Hear us. Does Joseph have a comment on the agenda?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Joseph?
Can you hear me?
Just noting that there was a change from the initial posted agenda and that, pardon me, the strategic plan has been moved down in order to make time. So as you had suggested, Commissioner Gaspani, we're gonna go through everything else and then save that extra time. So I think that's just a note as to the change in the agenda.
so just to clarify, there was in our agenda, there's one old business item, which is a strategic plan. We're going to do that at the end of the meeting. Instead of typically with the other old business items. So with that as a clarification, the agenda is the same. Let's move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Again, this is the regular meeting of August 26th, September 5th, special meeting, as well as the claims of September 9th. Are there any changes or modifications to any of those items? So I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve.
My second?
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Now let's move on to public comment. As far as public comment, is there any public comment in the room?
I would just note that the signs out on the road for the PUD are still pretty small and pretty faded.
Thank you. Now, how will we know if there's somebody online who wants to make public comment? Can somebody tell us if they're? I see.
Joseph Shea is raising, and let me look at.
So you guys can you hear me at all?
Someone says this is at 8:24. I can't hear anything to the meeting start. It had not started at that point. Dave Olson says I can hear Joseph and Ned at the moment, but no commission meeting. Dave Olson says thanks. Dave Olson says if I am the only remote attendee, I will leave so they can continue the meeting because no public were in attendance. Dave Olson says audio is good at 8:35. Annette Smith had answered questions for Dave as far as the audio goes.
And nobody has their hand up other than Joseph.
Other than Joseph, that is correct.
Looks like his hand just went down.
Okay. As far as participants go, attendees, as far as non-PUD employees, I see Dave Olson as a guest, Peter Raffato as a guest, and Stephanie is the other one that I see as well.
Okay, nobody has their hand up.
Okay.
So for the record, commissioners, for your public comment, for anybody attending online, they will have to submit via the text because I was asking if you could hear me the entire time and getting no response, so I'm gonna come in and sit in if you don't mind.
So to clarify, if there is a public comment, at the second public comment period at the end, please make up, please, put a entry into the chat for the Zoom meeting.
I think we actually, I think it's resolved itself. Just want to confirm that. No.
There's some.
Can I ask for, the, original agenda approval, who made the motion and who seconded my notes?
I made a motion and they seconded. Was the orientation of that all acceptable?
It doesn't matter.
Well, that's the only thing we could do is we block out the TV, because otherwise we won't focus on the TV. There's a great script on top. We'll be in there. Clear then?
Yes, for the benefit of the public, it's now 8:40. We have begun the Welcome TV meeting. We have completed the call to order, the pledge of allegiance, approval of the agenda, which is again, roughly the same. We're just moving one of the items from old business to the end for strategic planning. We approved the consent agenda, which is the meeting minutes of the regular meeting and the minutes of the special meeting and the claims of September 9th. And now we open for public comment. I just want to check for one last time. Is there any public comment? Online or in the room? We received one public comment, which was just about our sign at Trick Road and Portaway.
So fix our audio.
And we're about to move on to the general manager's report. Is there any participants online who would like to make a public comment? Should we turn the microphones off?
I just turned mine off.
You can turn yours off. Al is now fully functional, it appears.
You want to just pass it down here?
Mine turned off.
We have no hands raised.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the general manager's report.
Well, you've kindly given me 20 minutes. I'm probably going to take a whole lot less than that.
Good, yeah.
So first thing, Wire One's organizing a legislative tour, and we've invited all of our local congresspeople, senators, all kinds of folks. And I've asked them, Commissioner Vishmani, you're our water representative, so I've asked them to formally extend an offer to attend to you, and it's October 3rd. And it's going to be out at the Deming Library, so we had a very.
We'll start there, okay, yeah.
Yeah, very small space, and
That's done by Wyver One. You know, I'm the representative for Wyver One.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the Wakuda Water.
yeah.
that's right. My apologies.
That's okay.
That's
What
all right.
day was it?
October 3rd. It's a Friday.
Okay.
And
Maybe a tool wants to go too.
well, we're trying to limit
I'm not
it just because of the size of the thing.
I'm absolutely.
I will. I'll get back to Becky and we'll re-extend the offer to you. The second thing is I'm going to go on vacation for a week. So you guys see an email coming out today, giving you the contact information for folks. And I'll be back next, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So I'll be back in the saddle. Just a note, schools are open and there's all the usual, be careful driving and all of that, but we're also seeing an uptick of sickness. So we've got one employee who's off right now with COVID, and then we've got, several other employees who've been exposed to various flus and cold bugs and stuff. This was going around, so. Just a heads up, it's out there now, take care of yourselves, you know, sleep, vitamins, fluids, all that stuff, and, let you know if we really get hit operationally, but so far not. And then last but not least, I'm probably gonna, have to call for an executive session, not today, but at some point in the future to talk about geothermal leases. So,
Great.
just heads up, and, that's it for me. You guys have any questions?
Just when communicate with Jamie about that, so. Just out of curiosity, I did put it on my calendar, so if you need me to support.
Well, I would love to go to the Wyra One tour, though. They canceled our meeting again, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
absolutely, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason for
That's
the
great.
cancellation was the, water bank experts that we had, they all ended up being conflicted.
Mm.
So we had, it would have been a non-agenda meeting. And we didn't want to waste everybody's time. Questions for me?
No, no, I think that's good.
Yeah, great.
Kurt, is Kurt gonna give the operations? of the-
Yeah, good. Couple things, commissioners. So we have the footing set for a new steel pole out on the 115 line between the guide and Aldrich Road. Most of our setups out there are, pairs of wooden poles. In this location, we're gonna be installing a new steel pole. Footing set. I'll have some pictures next commission meeting for that.
It's a big steel pole.
75 foot, I believe. But instead of a long pole.
Well, maybe to you it's a small.
It's not like the ones on the I-5 that we have the line across the I-5. It's not gonna be anything like that, like a lattice pole. And then also up at Bender Park, where we've had our radio tower, which was also utilized by AT&T. AT&T has all their equipment off of the tower, and with the physical demolition of the tower is starting today.
We're finally gonna be clear of that.
And we're not in hot water with Ferndale in any way on that. That's good.
Not hotter water.
Not hotter water. No, technically, we have a sign letter for the end of the year, so
Great.
we have plenty of time for that, so that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Just check, we're all good technically?
I believe we're all good.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I might check again just to make sure.
Yes, sure.
All right, let's move on to old business.
If I could just jump in, the broadband and geothermal updates, we don't have anything to update you on. So that's pretty simple. Won't speak for John on adjudication.
I would say that,
I wanna hear about your hearing this week.
it was pretty non-eventful. I attended, we presented the special rules procedure that the case committee developed for the court's consideration. The court has received those, received our explanatory cover letter, and the court spoke with the committee and ecology in some detail about it, and then said we'll take it under advisement, and if he doesn't have any major questions, he will likely issue those orders. It'll take some time to implement. So the state will be on motions, will stay in place for a little while. If he has significant questions, he'll bring it back to the committee. The committee is in hiatus for a little bit. We expect the court to come back and ask us to look at the possible process and rules for the small claims that might go through for an expedited process. What our position has been in the past on that is that we expect the court or ecology to propose using a water rights commissioner who was unelected, and comments have been, I expect the people of Washington County will want to have an elected judge be the final arbiter of their water right claim rather than an appointed official. And it's fine for the appointee to do the administration, make the preliminary determination or even a final determination, but there ought to be a right of revision to take that to a court to review by an elected official. And under this typical court rules process, those decisions by the commissioner, you can have heard de novo, meaning a whole new hearing or review the whole record and any additional information heard by a judge. And so I expect that process will be instigated and somehow. That's something draft rules that Lummi Council and I had worked on a couple years ago, and we would expect we bring those forward to the committee. The biggest thing in the standing rules is when someone files, remember that we have 35,000 parties. Typical litigation, you have to have personal service. You serve that party with a pleading. So you want to make a motion, you have to serve. You have 35,000 parties. That means someone with a small well that wants to file a motion has to do 35,000 mailings. That's ridiculously expensive for a small or big party. So we're trying to find a way, we want everyone to do e-filing, but not everyone is going to consent to electronic service and electronic filing. So you have to have a system that kind of gets efficient to avoid personal service, but still allow every party notice of a pending matter. Why this becomes important is that you could be in the Bertrand Basin in a decision going on in Fish Trap Creek Basin that is analytical or legal issue that you would be concerned about, so you want to have notice what's going on in some other basin because the precedential effect of what could happen. So with all this e-filing, how do you know about what's happening? We're using a docket sheet procedure that is going to be published every month or every couple of weeks. That's going to list everything filed. Then how do you know what's on there rather than just saying motion? What is it about? So when you e-file, there's going to be a field that someone has to type in what the motion's about. So motion for clarity or motion to confirm, motion for judgment on municipal water law, whatever it might be. Then if you're filing by hand, you are going to have a cover sheet, we expect, that will have you fill out by hand. So your filing will be deemed effective until you either fill out the field summary on electronic filing or file by hand, then you fill this out on the cover sheet, and then the clerk would put that into the docket sheet. The docket sheet will be published, and that'll drive notice. So to get notice of a
How
pending
frequently
matter,
will the docket sheet be published?
to be determined, or it's gonna likely every 2 weeks, maybe every month. But then, once the docket sheet is published, then you have to have all your timelines for filing motions and responses derived from when you have notice. So, because you don't just get the pleading today by service, you have to go actively look at the docket sheet, and that has been some debate with us, you have to go check your mailbox anyways. So this is just checking the mailbox, either go to the court to look at the docket sheet or go online to look at the docket sheet. And you'll get notice, and then the notice will start some days after the docket sheet's published. Will usually be like the second and fourth or the Friday of the month or the last Friday of a month or some date that'll be predetermined with regularity, and then you'll have a series of events that happen after that. And given the court's gonna have one water day a month or every couple of weeks, that's gonna be when hearings would be held. So if you file a motion and notices appears on the docket sheet, and then there's timeframes after that, it may take 2 to 4 months to get your hearing. Just because of all these processes, and all of that is done so that everyone can have notice of what's going on, but also avoid the cost associated with personal service to all the parties. Because yet, so far, we have not divided the case into basins. Meaning there's one big case. We expect the college and the court to somehow segregate either into major claimants or regional sub basins, so you'll have some case sub proceedings. Bertrand Creek will be going first, maybe. And all the wells in Bertrand Creek Basin are going to be analyzed first. And that'll be a separate sub case. And then there'll be Fish Trap Creek, or maybe they do major claimants or municipal claimants, or however, we don't know how it's going to be divided yet. But that's how we expect the court and ecology to try to eat this elephant.
If I may, I'd like to summarize what you just said.
It's a colossal mess.
There's a lot,
In summary.
let's even brief about, there's a lot of details about how the order of servicing and claims and actions will be initiated. And then there was a separate thing that Judge Freeman brought up, which hasn't received a lot of attention, which you already mentioned, which was small claims, which is the private well owners. And And the category that I've shared previously that I'm most concerned about are small well owners with a business, with a small business. They would be in the small category. There's work to be done there. It's not the PUD's focus, nor should it be. But as a citizen of the county and representative of significant percentage of the people in the county, I am interested in that subject. There is a person on the steering committee that is focused on that. Could you remind me who that individual is? Or send me the contact information? for that?
She doesn't have an email, she attends by joining the court, on their system, and I wanna say it's Karen Baker.
Okay. Thank you.
She's a non-lawyer. Well, yeah.
So just two questions. Are you guys, proposing any, I don't know the right term for this, outlet other than the court? So if somebody doesn't have the internet, could they go to the local library?
They're gonna try to have a docket sheet available at local libraries and possibly at municipal courts. I think that's kind of not in our purview as a case committee, that's in the court's purview, and they are working through having some connectivity. There'll be a process that you can sign up on Gov Delivery to get notice when things are done, and there will be, we expect Ecology to do another notice of publication and possibly a mailing of a card that gives some of this information. But that's out of the committee's purview.
And then the second question, has any discussion come up about splitting the case in a big divide, surface water, groundwater? I think the surface water claims are more alike than they're like the groundwater claims and vice versa.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach that hasn't come up. I think it's worth exploring.
And it may not.
Given the
function very well.
hydraulic continuity issue, there'll be, the groundwater claimants will get involved with the surface water claimants no matter what.
Mhm.
And possibly vice versa, but that'd be an interesting divide. I can bring that up as a possible suggestion. We've been focused as lawyers, process and how do we assure notice? How do we, with 35,000 possible parties and people filing things, do I have to have a paralegal who just daily goes down to the court, sees what's filed and pulls out a copy because I don't know what's being filed and I need to know? Or are we gonna require everyone to, and that means you have every party trying to go to the court to do that, or do you have everyone requiring personal service and whatever postage is 60, 70 cents a mailing, maybe more per weight, and it gets expensive. And so how do we get an efficient service? We want to drive people to electronic service, meaning it gets filed in your email to PDF through their software systems. But not everyone wants to avail themselves of that.
Okay, so we've got broadband adjudication, geothermal covered, and we'll talk about future plan at the end. Are we ready to move on to new business? Okay, so first item on new business is the budget work session.
And that's gonna lead on this.
Good morning, Commission. It is, as you may remember, during our budget schedule that we do have a session or a timeline, and today would be the day where we try and get some feedback into the budget before we get too deep into it. We have already started working with staff to get kind of a heads up of where we think some of the things, especially the capital projects, will be going. But this is the time where I am here with my notebook to get feedback for specifically next year's budget. I know the strategic plan, you guys have been putting a lot of work into that, but this is more specifically for next year's budget, some concrete things if you want, or any direction you want to give for next year's budget.
Okay, so one of the things that came up in our last strategic planning meeting last Friday is that it would be helpful for us all to identify tactics that we think are relevant to focus on for next year. And that would be one thing that might be helpful to Annette and Chris, as in developing the budget. Do we all agree that that's a good thing to do now?
Well, we're actually gonna talk through the tactics in the strategic planning, section. That's the bulk of the work we're gonna do.
Right.
And we were asked to prioritize though, what should take place in 2026, right?
Right.
As far as our tactics go, so that will feed into the budget, but unfortunately, we haven't had the discussion yet, so.
There's no,
Yeah.
Later today is just fine compared to right now.
Okay,
So, that can wait until we get the prioritization, if that's what you guys wanna have. This is more, is there anything that was missing in last year's budget from your perspective that should have been included?
and that you never miss anything.
Jamie, you're my favorite.
Yeah, and then we will use the tactics from the strategic plan as part of the input for the budgets.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I think, to answer the question, was there anything missing? I don't think anything structural is missing. It's the kind of things that would be addressed in talking about the tactics. I think there's some studies that might be beneficial.
Yeah.
And I think we'll talk about that when we get to the tactics conversation.
I mean, I wouldn't say that anything was missing. We did adjust salaries like midway through the year because it was necessary. So I'm glad that we're having this salary conversation, it looks like, for the electricians now, before budgeting. I took a peek at it. Looks like serious stuff.
Yeah, it's a special case. We'll
Yeah.
talk a bit about what caused this and kind of, because it was precipitated by trying to hire.
Gotcha.
And there'll be the whole bond issue for new signs, as Todd was keep requesting, so we'll have to do a special.
Yeah, and possibly tax levy for that.
Tax levy.
We're not doing a tax levy, no.
Absolutely
A
not.
dirigible at I-5, let's walk a PUD over here,
For solid gold diamond studded signs.
Legacy's legacy.
All right, so if I'm hearing it right, we're gonna wait to see how the strategic plan discussion and the tactics would be kind of your input for this part of the budget.
Yes, yes.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Are you able to come back at that portion of the conversation?
I will definitely be listening in, yes.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Annette.
Sure.
Is there more in the budget or no?
No, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah, so every year we have an intro meeting, and then we have a series of other meetings where we present various, as it gets closer to cooked.
Right.
And then you guys approve it in December after we've had the iterative process. So this is just that first step.
Great, so then there's, I think 8B and C are connected, right?
They are, and I'd like to call on Lisa to talk a little bit about this, but just to kind of set the table. We went out to hire a substation electrician and ran into a lot of trouble with it. And we ended up with 3 good candidates that any one of them could have. And compensation or some flavor of compensation was the deciding factor. So that caused Lisa to go back and look at the market and for just that particular job family, we've looked more broadly before. And we've actually looked at this job family before, but this will walk you through kind of a slightly different approach, which we hope will be much more successful. And with that, Lisa?
Good morning, commissioners. So Chris sort of covered a bit of the background here in my first slide, but as he mentioned, we have had a position open for substation technician. It's been open since June. And we had unsuccessful recruitment efforts, which kind of sent us back to the drawing board to think about where we're at. And utilities all across Washington have been reporting issues with recruiting and retaining electrical system staff. I started here last August and I went to a training in September, and it was the first thing I started hearing. And I've been hearing it from colleagues ever since. So it is a statewide issue. As Commissioner Arnett mentioned, We did do a salary survey for everyone last year. We focused our comparisons regionally, as well as on similar sized utilities, and not based, of course, on customer, but on revenue, because basing on customer is a little bit complicated for us. But what we found was the applicant pool for us is much broader. Trying to find someone with specific electrical utility experience requires people from out of the area for the most part. And that's what we found in our search. We did have several solid candidates, and we ended up making 3 offers, all of which were declined. And financial issues were cited for their reasons, for those that responded to us. That was the biggest concern. And that's why we're here today. Excuse me. So we broadened our analysis and our wage comparison search to include larger utilities within commuting distance, as well as what we consider to be job market competitors for us. And we also went back and evaluated the job descriptions and duties, and we did that with the electrical system supervisor. And what we came up with in the wage comparison, as you may be aware, Snohomish PUD has led the market for many years. They made a determination many years ago that they would lead the market in salary, and they've been doing so. For this year, in their new contract, the city of Blaine determined they had to surpass SNOPUD in order to recruit and retain staff. And they did that significantly. Both private and public utilities within 100 miles are all paying more than $70 an hour for journeyman utility electricians. And I use that 100 miles. U.S. Department of Energy's definition of a realistic commuting distance at this time is 125 miles. So that was what I based that distance on. And so you'll see where we are here, the suggestions that we're recommending. First, we combined the existing substation Tech 1 and Tech 2 positions into one position, wireman substation technician, which is essentially a journeyman electrician. It's what we tried to hire. We didn't want to hire someone that really needed to be trained up. We wanted to hire someone that was skilled and preferably with utility experience. And so we feel like the staff that we have now both meet that, and there isn't a need to have sort of a step 1, step 2. Excuse me. To match the industry standard, we also removed salary range. When you go out into the industry and you look at these positions, they just have a salary. This is what that position is paid for a journeyman, for someone with that experience. And so we wanted to set that standard and try to make more of a comparison. We also, so we increased the wage for both the electric system positions, which would now be a wireman substation tech and the supervisor. However, when we had a Tech 1 and Tech 2 position, part of that was sort of, you have a lead person that takes over for the supervisor when they're absent. So what, because the supervisor currently felt that any one of his 2 staff members could potentially fill that role. Instead, what we've done is suggested a 4% differential for the wireman substation tech when they serve for a full shift as the supervisor. So if John is on vacation or something like that, then they would receive that differential. So it sort of adds back in that lead for that circumstance. And you can see that I've included the red lines of what the salary ranges were to what the new salary would be, and putting those 2 positions together. So we're recommending approval of the resolution that's before you, which will be the next matter, for the salary schedule for administrative employees, effective September 16th. And that date is based on the fact that that staff is paid from the 1st to the 15th each month. So that's for finance purposes for Annette, the effective date of the 16th makes it easiest. And upon approval, staff will begin a new recruitment campaign for a wireman substation technician. Do you have any questions?
I have a couple questions. When people declined our offer of employment and it was primarily financially motivated, was it just base salary, or were there other items? Were they happy with the benefits?
Generally, excuse me, generally speaking, they were impressed with our benefit package. And the fact that our insurance is 100% paid. There were a lot of benefits. But we were looking at some federal employees that were looking to move for various reasons, maybe thinking about getting out of employment with the federal government. But ultimately, there was just too much of a down step in salary for them. And the other benefits didn't make up for it. And of course, some of them have to travel, and there was like, oh, I won't have to travel anymore. But ultimately, it was just too much of a difference.
Okay. And my other question is, how do we arrive at the 4% differential? Just curiosity.
Yeah, it's kind of an industry standard that we looked at, as well as about half of the difference between the positions. So when we had a 1 and a 2, I looked at what the step difference would have been there and tried to match that.
Great.
But that's only eligible when they're actually
After
doing the
this,
function,
yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions?
Who is, in the past has served as an organization that we've hired from? You know, where people are getting.
Calco?
Yeah, so we've generally sort of hired industrial electricians or plant electricians, and they've trained up to be utility electricians. And what I'm hearing from staff is a desire to hire someone that already has utility experience, that can be ready to join the crew, and ready to join into the on-call schedule. Like the more training up that a person requires, then the longer we have the potential that just 2 of our staff members will have to cover on call for an extended maybe 6 months or year or more, while somebody gets trained up to be to be able to take in on that role of being on call. And our concern is that that's going to stretch our employees pretty thin. And that's one of the main reasons that we don't want to do that. We do have an employee who's nearing retirement, and for personal reasons that might happen sooner than later. We don't have an exact date. And so we're trying to be prepared, and our intent was to have a good amount of overlap with that employee as part of the succession plan, but we've run into these roadblocks. And so now we're feeling a little bit more at a critical stage that we want to get someone on board as soon as possible, so that it relieves that stress for that employee as well. And if they feel they need to leave sooner, it doesn't add stress for them that they're leaving their teammates shorthanded. So we really want to try to solve that.
Okay.
Thank you, commissioners.
Any further, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just gonna say that the next item is the resolution confirming that, so I don't know if you guys
Are
wanna
you ready?
discuss that.
Okay. I move to approve resolution number 879, amending the salary schedule for administrative employees for 2025.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and second. Is there any further discussion? I'll entertain, sorry, the motion's entertained. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Let's move on to commissioner reports.
No, I don't have much to report. I will be attending remotely the WAPUDA meetings coming up, and I am going to attend on October 3rd. If I don't, I'll let you know.
Delighted.
I do have a question, and this is actually for Joseph. It's a thanks, first of all. I really love our notebooks. And I'm wondering if we could pick up the notebook on like a Friday or a Thursday, like if these could be compiled and then I could come get the book. And the reason for that is, even though I love online stuff, like I would love to be able to mark this up so that I'm,
would say I have no problem with that, however. The caveat to that would be that we need to then have a written in stone deadline for when. Things for that book need to be here, and the flip side of that coin is that. That shouldn't be a problem going forward, but with the recent changes with strategic plan information and that kind of thing, that's why what you
Yeah.
received today and what we had printed here. Are completely up to date with the notes and everything that was received, and I didn't have that. Completed until yesterday, I didn't have everything for it.
Yeah,
until-
I mean, if things are last minute, that's fine, you can hand us the worksheets.
Okay, but yes,
Yeah,
I can have those printed and to you the Friday before commission meetings, and
Okay.
you guys require.
And then if you could just leave it at the front desk,
I
you could grab
I'll
it.
set a deadline of noon on Friday before.
Okay, I'm not trying to be a pit, am I the only person that wants
You're
that?
not being a pain.
Okay.
This has been done in the past for commissions here.
Oh, okay.
And I've done it elsewhere.
Okay,
So it's whatever you guys want. We're okay with it.
okay, yeah,
If you use that and you come, better prepared, that's.
yeah,
great.
no, I would prefer that. from
Yeah,
myself.
and I'm
Thank you.
happy to do it, that's what I used to do, where I came from before I started
Okay.
here, so.
Great.
Thanks for requesting that. Actually, I would appreciate that also. It's nice to have a hard copy, and of course, no problem if it needs to be updated between the time we pick it up and the commission meeting. But and not to put an extra burden on you, but yeah, when it's ready, if it can be printed and put at the desk for us, that'd be awesome.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Okay, so, anything else?
No.
So as far as, my commissioner, I'll go ahead and go this since, unless you want to go,
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. I attended the one day the PPC meetings last week, Public Power Council. I really enjoyed it this time, it varies. And Chris and I had a conversation a little afterwards about it. And I also attended a watershed management team to UNT for Wire One. Just informally, it's not on my list of things, so I'm not gonna redeem it, I just made a last minute decision to do that. So the key thing on the watershed management team meeting is we are moving ahead on looking at storage in a significant way. And I was very delighted to hear that, and I forgot the name of the river.
There's Musco Marsh
deeper one,
and
the deep-
Springsteen.
Springsteen. It's a fairly high up, fairly deep, lake opportunity. That could make a significant difference in, cold water in the South Fork. So I'm excited that we're looking at that. Regarding PPC. I was also found that very enjoyable. The main thing is that what I'm seeing is that there is a serious effort to try to come up with a way to emphasize the right kind of transmission infrastructure. There's a workshop coming up that's I think at the end of the month. That is being put on by, what's the name of the organization?
West Tech.
West Tech, yeah. And they've invited legislators to that meeting. And the focus is in particular, to see what states can do to support regional transmission. And to some extent, state legislatures just, when they solve a problem, they look within the envelope of what the state has and what the state can do. But what this workshop is intended to do is to kind of orchestrate how states can support regional transmission, which I think is probably the right approach. So, I think Chris and I have had a little bit of conversation about how we can perhaps cover it, someone from staff can cover it, I potentially like to go. and potentially, further encourage our state delegation to.
Yeah, that's a
to
public
attend.
meeting. I can just forward the link to you
Yeah,
for
okay,
West Tech.
great.
Yeah, and I do
We'll be able to
attend
do it,
all
we'll
of
be able to
those.
do it online too.
What's that?
We'll be able to do it via Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, if they do it in person, it'll be in Salt Lake City and I don't go to those.
Yeah, yeah. I don't, yeah, I'd much rather do it by Zoom. Yeah, so, those are my two main things to share. The thing is that it really is important that transmission be done with the regional focus. Not a, the state focus, because the natural, I mean, we're creating regional linkages. So, that's the main things that are coming up. I've got, of course, regarding Wapuda, I'll also be attending that, the 17th through the 19th remotely. And planning to go in person to the water workshop, following week, actually. I
Yeah, I
believe.
think so.
Yeah. So that's my report. Thank you. Well, I guess I should say one last thing, and it's probably appropriate for me to say this. In my non-PUD capacity, I am planning to talk to, county council members about adjudication as it relates to private well owners. I'm a private well owner. Obviously, it's outside of my role as a PD commissioner, but I'm have the benefit as a purview of some understanding because of being a PD commissioner that I want to benefit the community beyond my role as a PD commissioner. Making that clear.
Okay, thank you for disclosing all that too. I have nothing really to report today. I'm also planning to attend Wapuda meetings next week virtually. Decided it would be a little, yeah, I've gone to several of them in person this year and be quite a drive. So yeah, I think we might be. Let's make sure that we're clear about who's if you're attending one, if you're there as the delegate or who's the alternate or just listening in.
Yeah,
If we want to review the
so I'm on the board
yeah.
and then.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah, on Friday, and then, got the government affairs, right?
And education.
Yeah, education.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm just there for I'll be the energy committee. I would be listening in on board and government affairs.
Mhm.
Yeah, might go to one of the commissioner, might go to the commissioner roundtable. Just
Yeah, that'd be great if you would attend the commissioner roundtable. We don't always have somebody there to speak at the roundtable.
Okay.
were you planning to or?
No, you go ahead and do it. No. And of course, I'll be doing telecom and water, and probably listening in on energy too, as I usually do. So.
Okay, yeah, and then there might be some overlap in agenda items between Energy or Water Committee and the Government Affairs Committee, and I know they're gonna be talking about there's some draft legislation Wapuda's come up with, so I guess it would be the time for us to talk about that if we were gonna, in advance of the next meeting, but we probably would need a chance to look at the material first, so how about
Have they sent the material already? I know, like,
Yeah.
board material has
Yeah,
already
they come
come,
up. Did,
government
yeah.
affairs has already
We got
come.
them, yeah.
Yeah, I don't get. I only get the information from the committees that I'm in, but if you wanted to share that information with the rest of us, you would have to forward it to Chris. And he would share, or I guess we could just
Well,
get Wapuda to send it to all of us.
I get everything. I just forward it all out to you guys.
Might be a
I
good
mean, so I
idea,
get,
so then we
I
can
know, doesn't-
discuss ahead of
doesn't-
time.
I get everything I need. Yeah.
one thing I will say is I've been working with, Travis and,
Nicholas?
Nicholas,
Jake?
thank you.
Yeah.
So when you see the recommendation for the transmission ombudsman, when you see the recommendation for the transmission planning department, you know, the alternative legislation, I've weighed in on
Oh,
that.
great.
So I'm not saying my opinion was in any way dispositive. It was very much, you know, how do you make sausage? But
Yeah.
Nicholas was really good about getting me and a number of the other GMs involved.
I'm really happy.
Ready for you guys to look at.
I'm really happy that we are, like I said, I wasn't, and they're not, it's not about sending blame, I wasn't happy how things went down last year. And it just because we ended up oppositional where we should be trying to figure out ahead of time how we can all work together. And I don't wanna blame that on anybody, it's just, I'm so glad that we are doing the work before session starts. To at least do our level best, to try to get everybody on the same page. Yeah. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, and recognizing where there's some you know, some key items coming up, well, that'll be on the legislative agenda, and ones, you know, that, yeah, like you were referring to, the, you know, around transmission. And another one about sort of a loophole exemption to CETA, that's framed around grid reliability. And this is one where, you know, maybe it's not necessary for us to, like, you know, go and decide and take, you know, like a firm position as a commission, but just like where we could just, you know, feel free to be in discussion in the committee meetings. Cause I had some, I don't know, I'd raised some questions or concerns about it at the last round. But I don't know if it's necessary to just like take much time on it, but that was just one.
I think after these next set of, I think after next week's meetings, I think we'll be kind of a
Yeah.
little bit up to speed, and maybe we
Maybe
can.
we could discuss it after.
Yeah, we may need to, in the energy committee, you may need to kind of specifically ask about it. Maybe you should give Nicholas a heads up to make sure that he's planning to report out on where the transmission. In his staff report.
I'm sure that they are, yeah, because I know.
Well,
That's why they included documents.
Yeah.
Yeah. And given there's plenty of time between September and actual, you know,
Session.
start of the session,
Yeah.
then maybe we could,
Well, and I suspect that, you know, if Waputa comes to some kind of consensus, that it'll come back to the three of you to reach out to Senator Shoemake and Representative Rammel, who are the natural resources people that all that stuff goes through. Energy
right.
And new technology on Senator Shoemake's side.
Okay.
yeah, and I actually I was,
You saw us losing one, huh? You could see the ones.
Sorry,
Well,
we
Well-
just gotta keep moving, 9:30.
yeah, for sure. I would like to talk to, our legislative delegates about the bills, but we can, yeah, maybe let's just revisit it, next
Okay.
month.
The next one,
Yeah.
great. All right, so that's it for commissioner comments, commissioner reports, under old, let's move back to now old business. And the strategic planning conversation that we had talked about.
So commissioners, there's a couple things we want to accomplish today, and then I believe we have time reserved on the 19th if we need it, is that correct? And during our next commission meeting. But the three things are, there's a letter that's been drafted by Commissioner Arnett for your consideration. There's a letter that I've drafted for your consideration, and then there are all of the tactics and strategies that we had not yet gone through. Actually, I think we covered all the strategies, but it was the tactics just to go through. And that's kind of the work plan for the rest of our time together today. That your recollection?
Yeah, I just can't find the letters right now, so, I don't know.
Chris,
The letters,
Yes.
we did make a couple of changes to strategies that might be worth looking at. Those suggestions where we did put one together, maybe we struck one and put them together, and before they look at the tactics, it might be worth showing them that, because otherwise it might not make sense.
That's great, but let's talk about the letters first.
Yes, of course.
so let's do this, we'll talk about the letters, pin down the strategies, there's some minor tweaking on the strategies. And then we'll move on to tactics, does that make sense? Okay. So, I really, could we start with Jamie's letter first?
Mhm.
So, our letter that Jamie drafted, and thank you for doing this. I really like this letter. I have some minor suggestion. And it's just how we initiate it, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, you know, we are the Board of Commissioners. So I don't know if there's some way of saying that, you know, we, the Board of Commissioners, or the Welcome PUD Board of Commissioners is proud, or,
Well, we could certainly say the Board of Commissioners is proud to present.
yeah.
If that's,
I would just suggest you say something, like, as your commissioners, or
Yeah.
as commissioners, we are proud to present.
Yeah, as your commissioners, yeah.
Okay.
I like as your commissioners, you like, is that?
As your commissioners? Or as commissioners of the Wacom Public Utility District, or as,
As your commissioners of the Wacom Public Utility District.
well, I mean, we do go on to say we are proud to present the Wacom Public Utility District Strategic Plan. That's a lot of Wacom Public
Yeah,
Utility.
if you want to put it there, then I would say,
Yeah.
then we are proud to present the district's strategic plan.
Yeah, that's fine. That's amenable.
or our strategic plan, or the district's
Proud to
strategic plan.
present our strategic. plan.
Should we read this for the benefit of people sitting in the crowd?
Yeah, sure, yeah. But
Okay.
let's get that opening sentence right again.
Yeah,
So, as your commissioners of Wacom PUD, we are proud to present our district's strategic plan. This document reflects our shared commitment to stewarding the public resources entrusted to us while planning responsibly for the future needs of our community.
That sounds good.
That's good. Let's continue.
Yeah, also just say at the start, I really like the letter, Jamie, you did a good
Thanks.
job.
the thing that I wanted to most convey, what the reason why I thought it was important that we have a letter is. Because as commissioners, our role is very different than, you know, the general manager or the executive role, right? We are responsible to not just the ratepayer, but also the community at large, and that's what I sort of hope to capture there.
Mhm.
You wanna read, who's gonna read the letter?
I can read it.
As commissioners, our role is to ensure.
I'll go ahead and read it.
What's that? You
I'll
wanna
read it, yeah. So, should I start from the beginning?
Sure.
Oh, I didn't get right down the
You
beginning,
can't.
not the first sentence. I don't know, I still have the first sentence written down.
How do we-
How does it start again as the beginning?
As your commissioners of Wacom PUD, we are proud to present our strategic plan.
This document reflects our shared commitment to stewarding the public resources entrusted to us while planning responsibly for the future needs of our community. As commissioners, our role is to ensure that the PUD continues to deliver reliable, affordable, and sustainable utility services that enhance the quality of life in Whatcom County. We recognize that the challenges before us, ranging from infrastructure modernization to climate resilience, will require foresight, collaboration, and innovation. This plan outlines a clear roadmap to address those challenges while honoring our responsibility to the ratepayers we serve. The strategic plan was shaped through thoughtful input from staff and our continued engagement with stakeholders and community members. It highlights our priorities for strengthening water resource management, supporting regional energy initiatives, enhancing operational excellence, and expanding partnerships that benefit both industry and the public. At its core, the plan reflects our belief that the PUD exists to serve the people of Whatcom County today and to prepare for the generations that follow. We extend our gratitude to the PUD staff for their professionalism and dedication, and to our community for the trust placed in this organization. With this plan as our guide, the commissioners are committed to ensuring that Whatcom PUD remains a reliable partner in building a resilient, sustainable, and thriving future for all.
Do we want other changes?
Somewhere in either this letter or in maybe in Chris's letter, it might be helpful, and I'm just also throwing this out there, to say that the strategic plan is the most important document for the commission. Or something along those lines. Or the central document.
It's our compass,
Yeah, but you kind of say that.
yeah. I tried to say that.
Yeah, let's just put a pin in that.
Yeah.
So I just offer this letter up for your consideration. I'm honored to serve as the Public Utility District Number 1 of Whatcom County's General Manager. On behalf of our staff, commissioners, and myself, I proudly present our 2025 to 2030 strategic plan. While this is a 5-year plan, much thought was put into our future-oriented work over the next 25 to 50 years. Consideration for how much the world will change in that time was used to guide how WPUD will need to adjust to meet the changing world. We've tied our long-term aspirations into midterm and short-term objectives for the plan. The strategic plan summary. I'm sorry? Oh, I thought it was a comment. Maybe it was.
The strategic plan.
The strategic plan summarizes our goals for the next 5 years, strategies to implement those goals, and specific actions we intend to take to get us there. Our strategic plan is not our budget. Most of our budget is focused on serving our customers' immediate water and power needs, meeting payroll, paying vendors, servicing our debt, and maintaining and enhancing our very long-lived asset base. Long-term goals typically appear in our budgets as small initial investments in new initiatives. These initiatives will grow over time into major parts of our future budgets. Looking out 50 years in most organizations can be absurd. Typical product life cycles may only be a year or most a few years. However, our main products, water and power, are more unique in their lifespans. Arguably, the product life cycle for power has only been for the last 140 years. However, water and the safe and responsible use of water has been the backbone of civilization for over 4 millennia and shows no signs of stopping. Our investments in both water and power infrastructure have a typical 50 to 100 years of life with quality maintenance. For WPUD, looking out 50 years or more is not just prudent, it's essential. So how do we think the world will change around us? For starters, as the climate continues to warm, we expect to have warmer, drier summers and warmer, wetter winters. We also anticipate the number of people who call Whatcom County home will increase substantially over the next 50 years, and that Cherry Point will be developed and become a job-producing hub for the county. We believe it will become more difficult to supply power to Whatcom County, and the PUD can play a big part in a power supply solution. As the Wire 1 Nooksack Basin water rights adjudication case slowly winds through the court over the next decades, the PUD will have a critical role in developing water solutions for the county as a whole. What can WPUD do about those changes? First, maintain the critical assets and systems entrusted to us. Second, work with others within Whatcom County to establish water storage solutions that will move excess winter water into the parched summers of our future. We are committed to making sure that the Nooksack River is available for cities, farms, and fish all at the same time. We're working on alternative energy sources that can be built in the county for the benefit of our communities, including geothermal on Mount Baker, distributed hydroelectric generation from new water storage, and perhaps a fusion energy park at Cherry Point. As we adapt to these changes, we will need to build staff and capacity over time to do all these things. Could we be wrong in any of these predictions? That's certainly possible, which is why it's critical to reevaluate the strategic plan every few years to ensure a reasonable future trajectory and adjust our strategies and tactics with the changing conditions. I hope you enjoy reading our strategic plan and learning about how we are prepared to serve our customers and community. And I encourage you to reach out to our commissioners or myself with any questions or observations. Sincerely, Chris Heinberger.
So,
Well written, Chris.
Well, thank you.
yeah,
I wish I could write this well on my own, but I can't.
no, it's good. But I've got significant
Go for
input. Okay, first thing is a very minor thing. You got an acronym WPUD. We should make sure it's defined somewhere. In your 4th paragraph, you say, and the Cherry Point area will be developed and become a job producing. Now, first to clarify, it is a job producing hub for our community. And when we say the Cherry Point area will be developed, what I think what you mean here will be further developed. But herein lies a challenge. There are stakeholders in that community who are opposed to further Cherry Point development. And I want to know whether, our strategic plan needs to fight this battle at this particular time.
No, and I think he used the word "we anticipate," and because it is like the only, area there, it's the only location that's zoned for heavy industry in Whatcom County. I would say that the anticipation, whether or not that will come to fruition and whether or not there are stakeholders that are fighting that, and the anticipation is that it will be used as a job producing hub. That's the anticipation. That was the anticipation of the county when they created that zone, right, for heavy industry. So I think it's truthful. It is the anticipation of most people, and whether or not you're using it for big oil or maybe solar or maybe whatever, that is where industry has been chosen to exist in Whatcom County. I know
can
your
assure you,
feelings.
I know my feelings.
I know
is
your
about-
feelings.
Not what I feel, it's about how other people will feel, is that this sentence will raise this clause will raise some eyebrows.
Well,
The
the fact that it's zoned heavy industry raises eyebrows every day, but that's
Yeah.
the truth.
The other thing is if you look at the employment in Cherry Point from 2010 till today, there's been a net decline in employment, and it's been very substantial. So I think, when I look at Cherry Point becoming a job producing area, I'm looking at that as a contrast to a job shedding area. So, and it is different because it's been shedding jobs for a long time, and it's going to turn around, I believe, and become a job producing. So I'm not saying it's not a job producing area right now. It's not. And it's a job losing area right now. But what I'm saying is in the future, that's going to change.
I would note that the fact is that it's currently zoned that way, as Commissioner Arnett notes, and there may be groups in the community that disagree. But the fact is, that's the way it's zoned and planned by the county. We don't do the planning and zoning. We're just reacting to that, and this will form your capital facility plan and your water system plan, which is designed to be consistent with the county's comprehensive plan and zoning.
So here's what I'll just suggest. For modifications here. And the Cherry Point area may be further developed and become a job producing hub for the county.
I mean, I would have to sit with language longer than that to.
Okay, we can
I
leave it
mean,
at
I guess
that.
your suggestion is merely to turn will to may.
And further.
And further, yeah. I think I think the point, Chris is making in the statement is a good one, and, Jamie acknowledged, like, yeah, I mean, it's the reality of it, and, but I also, when I read it, I had a similar thought as a tool, and I think his point was being that, the phrasing of it is one thing that some people may react to more, in part because,
A little bit.
in part because, I mean, there's also there can be some equivocation about what we even mean by the Cherry Point area when we're talking about the full industrial zone versus parts of it owned by different property owners, or where there's different, so where a lot of it is not actually developable, but much of, some of it is. So it's, that's, there's all that as far as how, people want to read into it. Granted, this is just like an intro letter. So I don't know. If a may, simple enough is changing it to may, if that softens it, I would, I think I think maybe a more, there could be just a safer way to be more broad about, and not just limit to only Cherry Point when we're talking about future industrial growth and development in Whatcom County.
Well, the reason we specifically point out Cherry Point is that's
'Cause we
because
serve
we
it.
serve.
We serve.
That is what we're.
Yeah,
saying.
and
Yeah.
so, and I don't
And
wanna,
it's who we're set up to serve.
it's who we're set up to serve,
Right.
and I think that we need to sit with this for a second and like, is all industry bad, right? No, this speaks to. This letter speaks to, even though there's some other things for me, but, acknowledging the need for resilience, acknowledging climate change, acknowledging all of those things, so it's not like, we're saying, you know what, we're going to put up a, refining station that specifically works with Alberta tar sands, and, you know what, like, that's not what this says. This says that Cherry Point will become a job producing hub. And that's true, because it's set up that way, and that's who we serve.
Well, we just say that, yeah.
We can't respond to everybody's
Yeah.
visceral reaction to the reality of the
No,
situation.
I'm
Yeah.
just softening a little bit to reduce the degree of potential visceral reaction.
Well, I think it could be, actually, the way I think slight tweak in the phrasing there, as in, like, just to acknowledge that it is developed, it has been developed, and it does produce jobs. Granted, there was, closure of Intalco, major loss of jobs and industry resulting from that, but there's a future for all of that, in that site as well, so, I have no problem with referring to, our role as serving past and future customers in Cherry Point. But yeah, I think may be further developed as a job producing hub for the county.
Maybe
Seems-
further developed is great, that's if that's.
Yeah, that's
helpful.
It's minor, yeah. Okay, so that, I have, one other. Set of comments, and that's about the next paragraph. We are working on alternative energy source, going about halfway down, we are working on alternative energy sources that can be built in the county for the benefit of our communities. Including geothermal Mount Baker, distributed hydroelectric generation from new water storage. Now, we haven't really discussed that one. And Fusion Energy Park at Cherry Point. We haven't, these two items on the list, we haven't discussed
We have.
very casually. I mean, we've got
I've been saying
concrete,
Fusion Energy Park for 2.5 years in every commission meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not
No.
news.
no, it's like we're exploring what other people are doing. We're not talking about pursuing something in Cherry Point at this particular time. We got concrete efforts. No, come on, we got concrete efforts on geothermal. We've got concrete efforts on alternative, the whole Tucci thing. We've got concrete money we've spent, resources we've spent on the former two. And, the latter two. Also present some, complex. Things that we should, like, I would say the first two are in the study stage. And the next two are these are things that we'd like to study. Distributed hydroelectric generation from new water storage, something we'd like to study and investigate, and fusion energy as potential in our region is also, and I don't wanna say in Cherry Point, I don't wanna say that.
How about exploring? We are exploring.
I think they belong in different
new
categories.
Energy.
Well, guys, I mean,
They belong in different
the
categories.
easiest thing to do is just have a commission letter.
Well, come on, Chris, you don't.
If you want my opinion, you got my opinion. If you don't want my opinion, don't use it. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I liked about your letter, I'm gonna start there, how's that? When I give feedback, I like to tell people what I like before I tell people what I don't like. I like that this is conversational, it's not something that I would have ever written.
I love that too.
I like that you're asking questions along the way, which means that you're engaging your audience and trying to answer their questions. I do really like that.
Yeah.
The one question mark for me would have been that same, not specifically the Fusion Energy Park at Cherry Point. of course, if we do have a fusion energy park, it will be at Cherry Point. Where else are you gonna put it? I guess Bellingham
If
has
we're talking
a,
about-
Bellingham has a small little space on the water.
No,
right?
no, there's other parts of there are other places.
Yeah, put it on Lake Wacom,
Mhm.
I don't, so maybe we don't have to say that.
So we did look and spent a lot of time looking at hydrogen. So instead of fusion energy park, how about just, and it says perhaps,
Mhm.
how about perhaps an energy park at Cherry Point? And just not specify. But we spent a lot of time investigating all kinds of things
Yeah,
for Cherry Point.
Absolutely, I
Many
love
of them have
that.
been energy related.
And
They
that's
haven't
great.
panned out yet. It doesn't mean we haven't done any.
Yeah, well,
And that's the
Yeah.
I
best
like that
spot
one.
for us to have, for us to have an energy park.
yeah. Perhaps.
Would
an
you like
energy
to
park.
change that to exploring instead of working?
No, I like what Chris said, perhaps
Yeah.
an energy park at Cherry Point, does that?
I think, you know, Atol's point was really just like, to as to the extent that we're, you know, just what's the implication as far as, you know, the exploring, you know, the geothermal power plant in Mount Baker versus the degree to which you're, you know, we're exploring the possibility for, or preparing for such a proposal, but, that's, you know, it's a little further, just recognize that it's further out, right? And I think, I know, understand that's what you're, you know, you were meant to convey a longer timeline with all of this, and, so. Yeah, it's like, are we working on an energy park at Cherry Point? Cause I know there's been some discussion about it, but.
So I've been working with Tyler and he has brought a whole bunch of different developers to us that are looking to site there. And none of them have panned out, but we keep putting the effort in. And
Yes.
I've been working directly with two vendors of fusion plants. And they both know that we have industrial land available with roads, water, rail, that kind of stuff right here. And they are both very interested in it.
And
But
years
they're
ago,
not-
we had multiple people, even before Chris, that were
They're looking at
approaching us about
electrolyzers.
hydrogen.
Yeah.
There was a period where somebody was looking at, some cogen ideas too, out there too.
Oh, and then we had the salmon farm, the tank farm, we had the,
Lots of ideas,
yeah,
yeah,
all of the different stuff, the ag use for Cherry Point, believe it or not,
Yeah.
greenhouses.
I like that. Okay, but now let me go to the previous item on the list, the distributed hydroelectric generation from new water storage. Okay. So. Water storage and water storage with generation. Go through two different regulatory. Pathways. And, even the design of the facilities varies to be able to do power generation. And I can tell you, after having more than one experience talking to staff at people that have almost veto power over things like water storage, that it's a very delicate subject. And I like the idea of mentioning water storage, but adding hydroelectric to water storage makes something that's already controversial, hyper controversial. And for that reason, I don't think we should refer to distributed hydroelectric from new water storage. I think we're accomplishing a lot, but for example, at the watershed management team, conversation that I referred to earlier, and just evaluating and looking at water storage. And we are doing that. We have material effort in looking at water storage. We, you know, our associations have produced a preliminary study from Anchor QA. There's this additional now work going to happen. And I think that, yeah, I would leave out distributed hydroelectric generation for new water. I think it would just say water storage.
How about new water storage that may provide hydroelectric generation? I don't wanna, I think it's important that it's in there, because for me, if you have water storage, you may as well take advantage
Yeah.
of the opportunity for hydroelectric. Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you
There's other ways to
not?
take advantage of the energy behind the dams, but you know, that the point is that that is certainly something that is to be pursued. But it's probably not something that we are capable of talking to. And by the way, one of the challenges is that the permitting could be maybe even an order of magnitude greater.
Maybe, I know nothing of the permitting.
Or-
Yeah, I know a little bit about the permitting.
Yeah, I know you do.
The issue is gonna be, if you move it into a FERC jurisdiction, you've got a chance at a rational process.
Oh, you might actually make it more rational.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
So we could probably mince words on this forever, but I do wanna point out that we have a letter and Chris has a letter. And, you know, we can certainly weigh in on his letter, decide we don't want his letter, we can mince his letter to death, but at the end of the day, we don't speak for him. I'm just saying that so that we can
Yeah,
move on a little quicker.
Absolutely right. I mean, this is the general manager's letter, and it isn't our place to decide what's in it per se. It's more just giving feedback, for, you know, between
He
now
works
and
for
in
us.
a
And then
final
we
draft.
present it, but we can't.
Uh,
Making forward, wait, guys,
it's-
no, guys, you're off
it's,
base. These are forward-leading statements about the future of the organization. It's absolutely our job.
But if you hate
to-
it,
to
then
weigh
you
in.
can just not have.
Yeah,
it.
but I'm just saying, you
Right.
just said it's not our job. That I totally disagree with that.
No, I didn't mean to say it's not our job. I meant, it's not our, it's Chris's voice and message, so it doesn't necessarily.
Right,
reflect
and I
our-
love
we don't-
Chris's voice.
We
and
don't
message.
have, what I mean is, we don't have to agree necessarily with every piece of
Yeah.
it.
No, we don't.
Uh,
Correct.
We don't. I agree with that.
And, or it doesn't need to imply that we're
That we're in.
committed to a particular project because of something mentioned as I mean, I would just say maybe, you know, if you were just taking that note as was like, maybe, you know, a little bit of a soft tweaking of like, that, you know, noting that we are exploring these new
Okay, how
emerging
about- I got a
technologies and
suggestion.
opportunities.
I got a
but-
suggestion for how to address this. So, including geothermal Mont Baker. Something about water storage, and then when you go to, and perhaps an energy park in Cherry Point and distributed hydroelectric generation. Would that be okay? Because the distributed hydroelectric generation, there's no active study in that subject yet.
Right, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of opportunity to explore that in micro hydro and, I also just wanted to say overall that, I do really like the tone of the letter, and I do want us to include a GM's letter in this for sure.
yeah, me too.
And it actually is a great,
Especially after reading it.
I think it actually is it actually does serve really well as an introduction to the strategic plan, like just reading this makes me want to read the strategic plan. Like, it's like, oh, wow, I really want to know what they're planning now.
Yeah.
It's like a great intro to a book, you know. I think it's very inviting, so
I
you did a
love
good
that
job
too.
overall.
Structurally, I think that where we're looking at dropping this letter is at the end, not at the beginning. You guys have the intro.
Oh,
Oh,
it is
I
at the
love,
end.
no, I want this up front.
I like this up
Yeah.
front, yeah.
I think,
Okay,
I
We
agree
can talk about
that
that.
it's.
You'll see where,
Okay,
where
all right,
where it's
okay,
already
but I-
slotted
okay.
in, but that's fine.
Well, for exactly the reason that Eddie just said, is that this will get people excited about reading it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes it sound not boring at all, like, you know, like, it's like, this is gonna be, like, this is a thing, this is an interesting document, let's find this
Right, actually, for,
more.
I don't know, maybe I should do it.
maybe.
Paraphrase what you said,
Yeah.
your life is not boring at all.
I did not say that.
Because it's not.
I didn't mean to come off, I didn't mean to sound, like, you know what I mean, like, when it's not, you'd be like, oh, a strategic plan, you know, but versus, it's like, oh, this is a. This is an exciting plan, you know.
So,
It's exciting.
another comment I had is that, somewhere in these two letters, or maybe in some, we should make sure that the public knows that there was a lot of comments about public input in both letters.
Mhm.
But we should let the public know that, and we anticipate the next update will be in 6 years or something like that.
Well, we're
We
going to
should, something
review
about
it.
the process that we have, you know, this should be clear and upfront. So it's in the document
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's there.
but I'm just wondering, maybe we should repeat that point again, just so as a highlight.
Well, if you look at the, last paragraph on the first page, that's what I was getting at. It's critical to reevaluate the strategic plan every few years to ensure a reasonable future trajectory and adjust our strategies and tactics with changing things. That's why I included that.
Oh, okay, I got that. Okay, thank you, Ed. That's fine. Fine with me.
Beautiful.
Okay, so some minor changes, no problem. We'll take care of that. Now,
Now to the meat and potatoes,
now content.
or the sausage making, whatever.
So let me, Lisa, can I call on you again to kind of walk us through the changes on the strategies that, that the staff core team recommended from yesterday?
Yes, sir. Hold on, let me get to that page real quick.
So what page are, and less on what
Nine.
page are, nine?
Yeah, I think so. On
Okay, so if you'll recall, first of all, in the strategies in section 2 on page 9, under workforce, administration, and organizational culture, we all as a group agreed that this did not have the tone that we wanted. And there were some things that were inserted here by the consultants that you'll see we have just stricken them. So now if you look at 2.2, we have changed that to encourage relationships between staff and commissioners through inclusive events and activities. And 2.3, foster strong connections among staff and build organizational culture and community. 2.4, maintain regular and consistent occurrences of employee appreciation and celebration of safety milestones. So there we incorporated the comment about wishing that we had something about safety here. So, and then 2.5, conduct strategic planning process every 6 years with annual reviews of progress to date and priorities for the following fiscal year.
I did a lot better than what they read before. I would actually want to work here.
I mean, to be fair, what we saw before on tactics and some of these strategies was literally, Steve Klein and the other consultants' downloads, that this is what we would expect to see here.
Right,
So it's kind of a generic population of the thing, and
right,
we all kind of looked at it as that's not us.
yeah.
And so this was our attempt to
I
get it
like
back to
it.
us.
I've got specific input. I like this too. This is a big step forward. It's a minor input on 2.2, the new 2.2.
Mhm.
Encourage relationships, instead of the word between, I'm suggesting for staff and commissioners through inclusive events and activities.
Okay, I can make that change.
Because it's not just between staff and commissioners, it's just helping us all with them. Relationship with inclusive events and activities.
Sure.
It could be with consultants and so on and so forth. So, okay, so.
I'm excited about that one.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
also think it's, well, it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I have some thoughts for you guys.
Okay, that's
Um,
fair.
Okay, were there any other comments on the strategies here under 2?
Okay, another comment is, and though, where we have safety mentioned is at the end of 2.4. And I'm feeling like it's not quite working there. I think this 2.4 would be better if we actually, in that sentence, deleted the word safety and celebration of milestones. And identify another strategy, which is specifically talking to safety.
Okay, we do have, just kind of for some background, our employee appreciation policy that you all just looked at recently, includes safety as one of the things that one of sort of the categories that we celebrate, which is kind of why I put that together. But we can certainly look at separating it out. But when you look at that policy, it talks about safety specific recognition for staff. And so that was why I kind of put it together with that, because we typically
Okay.
do that together.
Okay.
But if you think it needs to be separated out, we could try to look at it differently.
I'm just offering that up for discussion. You know, let me just bring up again with workforce administration organization culture, the goal here is to create a culture that is physically safe and emotionally safe for everybody in the organization. And
Yeah.
I wanted to know that idea of safety is reflected in under goal 2.
Okay. We can go back to the drawing board with this one a little bit and see if we can come up with a way to separate those out.
Well, I want to make sure I'm hearing from Lisa on the commissioners on this. Am I making a point that that resonates?
I don't necessarily have to see that there. I like that we're celebrating safety milestones.
Yeah, and I don't want to, I'm
Yeah.
saying, I no longer am, Lisa, I'm withdrawing my suggestion to 2.4.
Okay.
And what I'm saying instead is that recognizing that you put a lot of thought into that language, what I want to see captured under goal 2, let me repeat what I'm saying, is something that says that in our organization, both physical and emotional safety of everybody in the organization is a priority that we strive to address.
Okay, so that's a goal, not a strategy. So that would change our goal, which is foster a resilient, inclusive, and mission-aligned team culture by prioritizing staff well-being, professional development, and collaboration. So it's kind of like it. I feel like it's in there. It doesn't specifically say mental and physical well-being or safety. But I think that
we could add the word safety, perhaps.
we could.
I know we've locked down our goals a little bit, but
I mean, it says prioritizing staff well-being. That's where
Safety.
you would mean, that would infer to some.
could we say staff well-being, safety, professional development, and collaboration? Would that be an improvement?
What do I ask you every morning?
Everyone's safe and it's the water flowing.
Every morning. I mean,
I
I'm
think-
trying to set a culture here.
Yeah.
Where nobody gets hurt and nothing gets damaged. And that nobody gets hurt is physical, mental, every way you can imagine, not limited to our employees, limited to the customers that we work with, the public we encounter when we're out working, everything.
And commissioners.
Commissioners.
So a lot of what this, in this, Chris,
Closed-toed shoes, you know.
and the strategy is a lot what I'm attempting to capture is, you know, there's that phrase, do what you say what you do. It's more like say what we do. Here, perhaps by adding the word safety here, maybe it's just saying what we do. Not so much asking us to do something new.
The only thing that I could think of is by prioritizing staff's physical and mental well-being, and then you hit safety. I don't know, yeah.
Well, I can let you talk, but
Will you take comments from the peanut gallery?
sure.
And, you know, as a former firefighter, this was one of the things that we struggled with and incorporated into our mission statements at times. And so some language, something like empowering employees to make safety the priority value or a priority value or a priority culture in the workplace, something along those lines would, I think, reflect what you're trying to get at a little bit. And be a worthy strategy listed under the goal, because you're empowering your employees. You know, it's the same as promoting employee training or ensuring application of fair and effective, meaningful employee performance evaluations. Empower employees to make safety a priority value.
just a suggestion.
Well, I mean, then you could tuck it into 2.1, right? Promote employee training,
Mm-hmm.
empower
Support.
culture, safety, I don't know.
Yeah,
Promote a safe and healthy working environment.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of an industry
Yeah,
minimum.
so put
Yeah.
it in 2.1 though, right? Where you're promoting employee training
Safety.
and safety, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Not blah, blah, blah taken lightly, but blah, 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 you know, yada, yada.
Not lightly, yeah.
No, yeah.
So commissioners, if I may, under 2.1, as Commissioner Arnett just said, can I propose maybe we just say promote employee training, comma, safety, comma, development and professional growth, and provide tools that support and enhance organizational understanding?
That's great.
That's beautiful.
Okay.
And again, Nick's my input on the suggestion on 2.4.
Okay.
And you're replacing between, on 2.2, replacing between with 4.
Correct. Okay, I got that changed. Are there any other comments here?
Sounds fine.
Okay,
Okay. In 4, under, let's see, let me take a look here. A tool, you were going to work on something for this,
I'm ready.
on the strategies on 4.
So under 4.3, provide meaningful opportunities for input, particularly in areas where it relates to the commission's deliberation.
Can you say that one more time?
Provide meaningful opportunities for input, particularly in areas where it relates to the commission's deliberation.
Okay.
So 4.1 is the sending of information and creating a facilitative environment. 4.2 is amongst our peers in government, and then 4.3 is taking in. But we got to kind of help frame the bins that we want. I mean, where do you get input outside of our bins? We get it all the time. You know, Todd makes a statement.
But
We got to deal with it.
But why particularly in regard to our deliberation?
Yeah, I'm
This
open
is
to
a
that.
Yeah, this is a strategic plan for the organization.
Any help here on this language? I'm very open to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just think broad is best. I understand you're wanting to like put out information and receive information.
Should we just
That's
say-
the heart of what you want.
I'm
right?
fine with just saying
Yeah.
provide meaningful opportunities for input. Is that good?
Yeah, for community
Because a meaningful
input.
will obviously be,
Yeah, do you wanna bring the
yeah, for community input, yeah.
Yeah,
Community input.
community input.
Yeah. Is that okay with everybody?
Commissioners, if I may, I know we're still sort of looking at strategies. But if we jump ahead for a second to the tactics under 4.1, I do think that staff tried to address sort of your question there, Commissioner Deshmani. In 4.1 D and E, we added invite community input through open house events at least annually, and explore potential ways for community members to subscribe to news about topics of interest and ask questions or submit feedback through the new website platform. So we added that tactic to 4.1 under promote public engagement and knowledge of the PUD. So I wonder if that tactic addresses it without making a change to the strategy.
Yes,
It's
it
just a
does.
thought.
So I would, it's up to a tool, cause you, like, I don't know.
No,
But I think the engagement is both the giving and receiving of information, and the tactic addresses that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
Cool, I like it too.
Okay, yeah, I think without having to make a change, if we just keep 4.1 and 4.2 as they are, you'll see that when we get, Yeah, when we get to the tactics, I think you'll see that staff tried to address your feedback there.
I'm gonna take another comment from the peanut gallery.
You still don't have customers mentioned.
Customers.
You still don't have customers mentioned under strategies.
Good point.
So we could say promote public and customer engagement and knowledge of the PUD. Under 4.1.
Promote customer and public engagement, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or promote public and customer engagement.
I mean, that's fine with me. This is a public utility, so we're serving the public. Our
Yeah, I
customers
like
are
the
public.
mention of customers,
Yeah.
though. I mean, yeah, I mean, if I'm a customer, I would like to see my name and, I mean, we call
Okay.
that here.
I'll add that to 4.1.
Is that- Eddie, you got any comments on strategies here?
I don't know, I just think the phrasing, promote customer and public engagement sounds kind of funny to me. I don't like, do we mean like, okay, engage how about engage customers in the public and promote knowledge of the PUD? Or
I just want to point out, we've done a really good job, in my opinion, of engaging our customers for decades. And you look at our budget process, for instance.
Yes.
So, you know, because we are so small in terms of our customer count, customers who care about us reach out and touch us all the time. And the rest of them just pay the bill.
Mhm.
And so I'm not as worried about the distinction between public and customer. I think they both smear and bleed in. The other thing is that, you know, we intend to keep doing everything we're doing now for customers and anything else that makes sense. And just operationally, we handle that.
Mhm.
yeah, it's right.
Another,
So
sorry, go ahead, Eddie.
I was just gonna say, is that right? But like what you just said, like it's an always and ongoing, but it's not. Yeah, as Todd pointed out, it's not stated here as a strategy, and actually just adding the word customer into 4.1 about it doesn't really say anything about customer relations, right? Or how we engage them, right? So is there something that just needs to be named, even if as a given?
That I think would be more in the tactic. Also, what if we just say promote engagement and knowledge of the PUD, and then we can get into that in the tactic.
Promote engagement. You said promote engagement with customers and the public.
No, just.
No,
promote
just take out those words and just say promote engagement and knowledge of the PUD.
Okay, sure.
And then we're not calling out one or the other or putting it together and making it sound not quite smooth.
Pack a lot in a brief sentence.
Yeah, and to address the so add one of the 4.point maybe F, something about customers. So what we
Your tactics.
Yeah, when we get down to tactics, then maybe we can look at that.
add a tactic that is an F with for customers. And basically what we already do.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. Okay. Still under strategies, 5.3, there's a comment here that it needed to be worked on at this meeting, thoughtfully weigh and balance competing interests. So commissioners, do you have any further input or comment, or are you happy with that strategy?
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
The alternative would be thoughtlessly.
No.
Yeah.
Or don't consider it all.
I just ignore.
Boy,
And then the same comment on 6.3, like you guys wanted to maybe think on it and come back to evaluate opportunities for the PUD to expand its role.
Yeah, I think that's necessary there and I like it.
Okay, and then we've got tactics backing that up.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Ooh, that's good in your tactics.
Chris, do you want me to continue with tactics or do you want to do this part?
No, you're doing a great job. I'll defer to you.
Okay. So under I think we'll just,
Hold on.
Oh, wait, actually, no, yeah, continue, yeah.
But
I've got something for the peanut gallery.
Under strategies 3.3, says measure and track. You might consider incorporating the words, and publish, so measure, track, and publish financial metrics and health. That leads to a little more transparency idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 6.2, the definition of foster is to encourage or promote the development of. And rather than foster a positive relationship with BPA, you might put something as sustain our positive relationship with Bonneville Power. To me, foster means you're trying to develop it, you don't have it right now.
But we do have it.
We do have it, so sustain our positive relationship with BPA.
I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you. Sure, I'm not gonna waste time on the difference between foster and sustain. We also have foster strong connections among staff and build organizational culture, and I don't wanna change, should we say sustain, I don't know. Foster is used multiple times in this document,
Okay.
Gives you a chance to not use it then.
yeah, I don't know that we are continuing to sustain that, BPA is an ever-changing organization like ours, and so to say sustain, I don't know.
Well, I can tell you that Andrew spends tens of hours a week on BPA issues, as do I, and PTC does, and, so we make a huge investment in maintaining our positive relationship with them. So it's not new, and we're not gonna let it go because it's that important.
While we're still on strategies though, actually, there was just one thing I wanted to point out. 'Cause
commissioners, if we could, do we have a decision then about whether we're making a change to 6.2?
Yeah, I don't think we get to this.
do we,
But the measure and track financial metrics and health, in public, so the suggestion is publish. I don't know where, unless there's a tactic that says we're gonna publish, our
Or-
P&L
Well,
online.
we can do our monthly report that you guys see, we can put that online, that's as frequent as you can get.
Okay,
Our accounting systems don't support live dashboards, it's just, we're not that sophisticated.
So
Yeah,
for
I know.
clarification, are we looking to change that strategy or looking to address that in a tactic? Or both?
seems like a
I think it should probably be a tactic.
tactic.
But,
Okay.
but if we get the strategy level, it could be measure, track, and report. I don't know. That's a strategy. If
Or we could say measure, track, and make available financial metrics and health.
So if you look at 3.3, as we've suggested it, it says maintain periodic reports and dashboards of financial performance that identifies, reports, and communicates key financial metrics for decision making. That's what we're trying to do. And
Yeah.
if you guys just want us to put that on the website, we're great.
Okay, yeah, I think it's definitely a tactic though, because publish,
That's an action.
it's an action and it says, where are we gonna publish it to? What items are we publishing? It's a,
Well, isn't that kind of an understood thing? I mean, you're going to get this information out.
well, I know.
We are a
but how.
public agency, true.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that put in, note of that would be fine, a tactic.
So we've got about a half an hour.
yeah.
Okay, so are we ready? I think we've kind of gotten off track. If we could move back to tactics and let's start going through them. unless there's any other comments
Any other
specifically to
comments?
strategies.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that because we skipped to goal 2 and then under goal 1. I feel like, I mean, maybe after our, whatever we did last Friday, it got a little messy where it's just kind of, the same strategy and tactics are repeated under goal 1 and 2. So there's 1.5 here added, pursue alternative energy source creation, but that basically mirrors under goal 6, investigate new clean energy sources of power. And also, like, I think the way we were framing all the tactics and whatnot under goal 1, I think 1.5 belongs more under goal 6. And then the tactics that it correspond to likewise were ones I was going to bring up under tactics, but just flagging that maybe we want to move all that into goal 6.
Okay,
He's saying remove strategy 1.5, and if that's what he's saying, I agree. I think it's addressed in 6.
okay, Chris, did you have any comment for that? I believe that was something that you added yesterday.
So we looked at this and you can develop new energy resources under 4 or 5 of these goals.
Okay.
And it is a big deal. We talk about it all the time. So, you know, having some repetition is not, in this case, I don't think harmful. If you guys really want to edit it down that much, then we should change goal 1 to water supply source and delivery infrastructure and just not talk about power at all. And then just include power in goal 6, or leave it the way it is. We hit it twice and know that, you know, when you guys, when you vote on a resolution that forwards geothermal in some way, shape or form, you may be satisfying more than one goal. That's okay.
Ooh, does that make us look like we're
You're overachievers.
Yeah.
So for me, and I may not have communicated this, so apologies if I'm communicating this late in the process. When I read goal 1, I was looking at delivery infrastructure. And when I read delivery infrastructure, I was thinking about sub-municipalizations. I was thinking about municipalizations. I was thinking about growth in the customer base of the PUD or our affiliates. Neighbors. And so in that regard, it's not the sources that I'm thinking about when I think about goal 1, it's more the customers and the end users that I'm thinking about in number 1. So when you think about that possibility, supporting sub-municipalizations, for example, which is the most likely thing that I can think of, I think that belongs not under goal 6, perhaps, although we could make it under goal 6 by
You just do it both and move to tactics while we still have time.
Yeah, so it was your phrasing there intent. You sounds like you had you put that in there with intention, Chris.
Yeah. So the expand our role in 6 was specifically where I was looking at municipalization.
Okay,
We
then
did,
let's just,
but we didn't call it out in 6.3A. So we
we
could
could
call
do
it at, you know, 6.3B and talk about municipalization, or we could include it
Yeah, I like that.
under 1 or both.
well, I guess I would defer now, it's me and Eddie that are having these inputs, so are you fine deleting 1.5 and capturing your desires in 6, the things that you're talking about in 6, and then similarly for me?
No, I was saying leave 1.5, but you can add a 1.5C and have a municipalization,
Okay,
right? I mean, that's one way to do it.
yeah,
And then we do need to add something on 6.3 that would cover municipalization. That was in fact what I intended it to be, and just
okay,
brain flooded.
all right.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a recorded comment. My apologies.
That's all right, no, but that's fine, so as long as we do that, I'm fine with that, yeah.
All right, so Lisa, we need to add.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's see if we can get through these tactics. We've got 30 minutes. I know Commissioner Arnett has a hard stop at 11 o'clock. So tactic 1, effectively oversee the largest capital investment in WPUD history, the rebuilding of Plant 1. B, update major infrastructure components of the capital improvement plan as part of the annual budget process. C, as an adjunct to the CIP, create a hydraulic profile of the industrial water system that will guide future replacement projects. Are we ready to move on? 1.2A, continue ongoing development of the computerized maintenance management system and identify potential benefits. 1.3A, research and identify potential water storage projects. 1.4A, actively monitor and participate in water rights adjudication process, water-related legislative actions, and other water-related activities that could impact the PUD. And then 1.5A, continue development efforts on Mount Baker for geothermal energy. B, continue efforts on creation of energy park at Cherry Point.
And C, continue efforts, both, look at municipalization efforts.
Say that again.
C,
Investigate.
investigate municipalization efforts.
Okay.
Efforts or opportunities?
Yeah.
Opportunities, yeah, it's a good catch. Not efforts, opportunities.
Okay. Are we ready to move on to section 2?
I am.
Okay. 2.1A, develop and communicate a campaign to promote and encourage employee training and professional development opportunities. So here we could add safety. Again, if that was something that we wanted. Encourage employee training, workplace safety, and professional development opportunities. B, consolidate and update employment policies and create an updated employee handbook. C, continue to research and identify potential training opportunities through leveraging utility industry associations. So there we just added continue because that's something that we already do. 2.2A, host joint commission and staff events. 2.3A, continue hosting quarterly meals and gatherings for staff and celebrating individual birthdays and work anniversaries. 2.4A, host annual employee appreciation event for celebration of staff contributions to organizational success. And 2.5A, conduct strategic planning process every 6 years with annual reviews of progress to date and priorities for the following fiscal year. And if we're ready, I'll move on to 3.
No, I have a couple questions in 2.
Okay.
So we have consolidate and update employment policies. So commissioners have their own separate set of policies that have needed updating and work on, like per diem and stuff like that. Should that go in there also? Consolidate and update employment and commissioner policies? Sometimes we talk about commissioner policies like we all know that they exist and they're a thing. And my first year of being here, I had to repeatedly ask for okay, so what is the per diem policy? And then I got a piece of paper that the last time it was looked at, I think was in 2002 or something. So there are separate policies. I just wonder if that would be a good spot to put that.
I think it would be appropriate.
The other thing is we talk about these commission and staff events, and I'm really looking forward to that. But we don't address the difficult part, and I don't know how you would address the difficult part in here, and that's like the financial implications of having these events.
So we budget it You'll see that in our budget.
we will see it in the budget,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
It was in last year's budget, but this year it's a little bit bigger because we're planning to do a little bit more.
okay,
And so that's how that particular piece of it's handled.
and that's fine, there's no legal implication.
It's okay, within certain measures.
Yeah, we've been over that with CSD.
Okay, great,
So then the other thing is just standard warning. We don't want these to be noticed public meetings. So, I just need your forbearance. Don't talk business.
yeah,
Show up, talk personal, get to know people. That's it.
okay,
Don't talk business. And then it's not a meeting. We don't do any business there.
talk about the weather, baseball.
Just not the PD, not our business.
I got lots of things to talk about.
Yeah.
I know
you
you'd
can.
be surprised. Okay, thanks, Lisa.
Any other comments on section 2? Okay, section 3, 3.1A, perform cost of service analysis studies every 6 years or as needed to serve as guide for rate design and subsequent rate setting. B, as an adjunct to the CIP, maintain a 10-year capital funding strategy for CIP designated projects. 3.2A is unchanged. Review and update financial reserve policy as necessary for funding of operations and capital improvements and to ensure adequate financial reserves to moderate risk, supply foreseeable cash needs, and protect the PUD's bond ratings. And B, analyze current financial condition and consider raising debt service coverage and associated revenue enhancements to raise the PUD's creditworthiness in anticipation of the need for future debt financing. 3.3A, again, we changed just the word to maintain. Periodic reports and dashboards of financial performance that identifies, reports, and communicates key financial metrics for decision making. And we can add publish data to the website for public viewing. Something like that, if that's what you wanted based on the earlier conversation. No comment, I'll go ahead and add it. Okay. In section 4, community and customer relations. 4.1A, develop and implement a public engagement strategy. And again, we could take out the word public here if we wanted, just implement an engagement strategy to highlight brand awareness and visibility within the community. B, encourage staff participation in community volunteering by highlighting local opportunities that align with the WPUD mission and values. C, explore local co-branding opportunities. D, invite community input through open house events at least annually. And E, explore potential ways for community members to subscribe to news about topics of interest and ask questions or submit feedback through the new website platform. 4.2A, continue to build strategic alliances, coalitions, and partnerships with local community groups and agencies with similar issues, goals, and objectives to support the PUD's mission, interests, and policy objectives. And B, actively seek leadership roles and participate in community and industry events and non-governmental organizations to support the PUD's mission, interests, and policy objectives.
So why don't we just replace the PUD's mission, interest, and policy with the PUD's strategic plan?
I'm sorry, could you say that again, please?
Why don't we replace the phrase PUD's mission, interests, and policy objectives with the PUD's strategic plan?
Yeah, we could, or like above, this was language that was put in by the consultants, and so I didn't change it. Up above, I said align with PUD mission and values, but we could say mission, values, and strategic plan, or just mission and strategic plan.
The strategic plan has all the mission in it and all of
With
that.
the PUD strategic plan. Okay, so just everyone else okay with that?
Yeah, sounds good. I have a question for my fellow commissioners, though. So there's been a lot of talk about town halls, right? Different people. oh, the county council needs to host a town hall or whatever. Do you, we talk about inviting the community input through, open house events. Do you think that there's any, that's your time to engage with the public? Is that, or do you wanna have something where we're being officially held accountable at a?
I think the way to address town halls or events, may be better to do it on a case by case basis. Driven by, I've got two inputs for under the tactics here, but. And that might help answer the question. Those two inputs are, I'd like us to have some way of maintaining a record of public input. I don't know what's practical there, something I need to think about. Maybe Joseph, you might have some ideas on that front. And the second is that to identify areas where public input is a commission. Like, here's in the process of our regular process to have it'd be good to get more public input on this subject, to be able to have, for us to have a way for keeping track of areas where we would like more public input.
So I have a comment, I guess a follow-up to, so we don't have a just commissioners, PUD, like a general commissioner mailbox?
And no, and that was actually gonna be my suggestion, since you
Yeah.
put me on the spot, was that what I would suggest being done is we have our public comment period here. If folks can't make it to the meetings or whatever, them send letters to us in care for you, say with public comment, CO commissioners for public comment period. We can read them on the floor, then they will become officially part of the record.
Yeah, so that's how other organizations handle that. They have like a general mailbox and then it's put into the record at the next meeting.
And what I could also do is if we ask for physical letters, or I mean, we can do email too, we just have to track it. They can be printed and even scanned and inserted as part of the minutes.
Yeah.
For the official record.
Can we add that as a tactic here? I don't know how that would.
Well, that addresses the first point, and then the second point that I raised is that is for us to, and as part, I'm making a suggestion to our customary practice as a commission. Is what I'm talking about here is, and I'm not sure that this how much this belongs in the strategic plan or not, but I just gonna bring it up anyway because it relates to this topic. And that's for us to be regularly reflecting on, would we be doing our job better if we got input on this subject from the public? I would like to know if there's something we should put in the strategic plan on that subject, or if it's just something about for us to just reflect on.
I think it's something for us to reflect on, but even the thing that I just suggested actually fits into 4.1, develop and implement a public strategy to highlight brand awareness and visibility within the community, and maybe, so it's engagement, so it's asking for information. So that's sort of couched into that, if we need to. I don't know that we need to really get down to the tactical information there,
And commissioners, I think that also this is really kind of going to be covered in E, which I added to explore potential ways for community members to subscribe to news about topics of interest, ask questions, or submit feedback through the new website platform. I think as we implement that new platform, which is going to be happening in the next couple of months, we may have some ways to have surveys or other things that people can answer online that will all be part of our public record system that we would be tracking. That Commissioner Deshmani might be, if you have a particular topic, the commissioners decide we would like to receive input on this topic. That might be something that we could then utilize the website for that purpose and collect that data and then read it into the record at a future meeting. So I think that without getting down into the very specific hows, kind of covers what you're talking about. I think it's maybe broader than you realize and can cover those things, both you and Commissioner Arnett are referring to, as far as a general mailbox or a way for people to submit public comment. I think those can all be covered under E. Unless you specifically want them called out.
No, I think you're right. Potentially for commissioners, just, yeah. So you may need to be reworded a little bit to just make clear that it's a catch holder for technical solutions to get and track input.
Okay.
I'm open to that being a modification that you can do.
Yeah, Commissioner Arnett, do you think it needs to be separated, or do you think that's sufficient?
No, I think that's great.
Okay. Is there anything else on section 4?
Nope.
Okay, section 5. 5.1A. Excuse me. Annually develop and proactively and strategically implement and communicate the PUD's legislative positions. And then we added B, enlist assistance of lobbyists as appropriate. 5.2A, develop and strengthen alliances and coalitions to advance common advocacy positions and objectives, such as the Washington PUD Association. And B, develop and strengthen relations with local legislators, city policymakers, and their staff. Now we added a space for 5.3A, but we're going to really kind of put the ball back in your court here, commissioners. If you look back at the strategy on 5.3 that you added, which I think was, sorry, I got to find my page.
That's thoughtfully weigh and balance.
Oh,
Yeah, thoughtfully weigh and balance. And so thoughtfully weigh and balance competing interest. And, we just really weren't sure because we feel like that is your tactic. And we weren't sure how you wanted to do that or state that you were going to do that. And so we left that blank for you.
So first thing is to understand that the diverse perspectives of various stakeholders.
Yeah, I mean, I guess tactically, how do we show that though? How do you prove your work?
I guess it would be by me making an effort to meet with the various stakeholders.
So maybe we
Fully participate in forums and other where we are able to understand the diverse perspectives of various stakeholders. And we do that some of those are done in the committees that we assign ourselves to at the beginning of the year, but some of those things they don't cover all the bases. There's sometimes the bases are covered elsewhere. So, and we support each other in attending those events. So, I guess it's through coverage and attendance in other forums. And this secondly, conduct work sessions to work sessions. It's that kind of thing blends itself more to work session than a regular meeting, frankly. I mean, to develop a consensus among the commission on how to, because anything that where there's got multiple stakeholders, no one commissioner should be deciding the balance there, right? It's so how we respond to balances as a group, how we take the balances as individuals, how we get the input on all the different stakeholders as individuals, but then we come back to the commission, and as a commission, we deliberate on the different perspectives that we're hearing from the community and get to consensus, probably in a work session. So I think that's 5A and 5.3A and 5.3B. So A is attendance at various forums, and B is work sessions to consensus on how we respond to these conflicting interests.
Okay, just as a starting point, commissioners, based on that, just listening to you talk that through. 5.3A, engage in conversations with various stakeholders to seek understanding of their perspectives, to include attendance at meetings and forums. B, confer with fellow commissioners during a work session to relay findings.
Yeah,
That's just kind of a jumping off point, but
you know,
Go back to the strategy though, like just for a second, I'm sorry, I know everybody just wants to evaluate, well, no, that's not it. Thoughtfully weigh and balance competing interests as a strategy. Who are we speaking to? Are we talking about the commission thoughtfully weighing and balancing competing
Mhm.
interests? Because
Yes.
so then that needs to be outlined, but we shouldn't be outlining commissioner strategy in the organizational strategic plan. And I don't know how we, like, I love your thought process there, and I think that as a best practice for commissioners,
Mhm.
we should be going to different forums, we should be engaging, I think all of us do anyway, I don't,
we do.
I mean, I'm just not sure you need a strategy and a goal to be thoughtful about your business.
yeah,
Mhm.
That's really
Maybe
an
overkill.
assumption.
Yeah,
yeah,
And if that's not the case, then we got other problems. So, and I have not observed that.
yeah.
Not the case. Wow, how many double negatives can we throw in one sentence? You got the lawyer smiling. But I said it correctly.
Are you suggesting, Jamie, we delete 5.3?
I do, because it's so hard, because first of all, I wouldn't wanna put it in the strategic plan if it's specifically addressing how commissioners behave instead of an organizational, like, instead of the entire organization.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so if that's the intent, and then second of all, thoughtfully weighing and balancing is really hard to create tactics for. I mean, I know we just went through a couple, but I think that's the job. You know, like,
okay, yeah, so what do you, Eddie, are you okay with deleting 5.3? I think I'm okay with this. 1 second.
Yeah, I mean, as far as where if anything, I feel like it would belong as a part of a tactic. It was really just, I think when I brought it up, I was as a, I think it should have been as a qualifier in a tactic. As in about how we, it was really, oh yeah, probably under 5.1.
or in community and customer relations, right? Thoughtfully weigh and balance.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, but I think I think it would actually just go as a addition, tag, like you could just tag it on to the end of 5.1A, like develop and practically and strategically implement and communicate the PUD's legislative positions, thoughtfully considering competing interests or something like that. I mean, or you're right, maybe it's not that necessary. I guess when I brought it up before, it was I think it was just meant to get at whereby participation in like PUD or other, of these associations, or, we have other competing interests in our local jurisdiction to consider when we're participating in them.
I like adding that to 5.1
Are you
there.
moving beyond implementing goals and having tactics to just how you do your job
Mhm.
and how you communicate? I mean, tactics are trying to implement something. It's strategy, and I hear you kind of weaving into how we communicate, how we want to formulate a legislative policy, to how we convey the legislative position. I mean,
Maybe too much detail.
Yeah, maybe.
you're getting way into how we, are gonna behave with amongst ourselves with these things. Yeah, you're talking about how you do your job more than a
I'm
tactic
also
to
like
implement
that.
a goal strategy, for what it's worth,
Mm.
as an observation.
Yeah, you maybe.
I was gonna say, as a point of order, since we've only got about 7 minutes left, since we've got that 3 hour window, or from 1 to 3 on the 19th, correct? That was what everybody said they were available for.
I'm thinking at this point,
public comment, close this meeting and resume discussion on the strategic plan on the 19th.
We have one more.
I think we,
Yeah, let's just get.
Wait, but can we just, so we are deleting 5.3?
Let's delete it.
Okay.
Let's just cut it out. I guess I'm fine. I think adding lobbyists in there I guess makes sense as a tactic, because that may be something we have to budget for, and I understood that to be really at the federal level where it seemed.
Last time we did it was at the state level.
Oh, yeah, we do it at the state level, different government organizations do it at the state level.
Yeah, we
Right,
haven't done it at the federal level here yet. I've done that at other utilities, but not
Yeah.
here.
Okay, well, yeah, this one's fine. Like, I would say just, let's just,
Okay.
accept that addition and leave out 5.3.
I've got a
Okay.
long for 6. So, now, so I wanna bring that, I'm bringing that up now, whether it going into the long list. That I'd like to be able to discuss with, not rush.
Okay, then let's put a pin in it, bring it back on the next.
Yeah, bring back in 19th. So I
Okay.
will, once we get the updates on this, we can forward it all back, and Lisa will get it to me and forward it out to you. I'm also gonna get it over to Mall Foster so that they can begin, because now, aside from 6, the content detail in there, they'll have the letters, they'll have our input on all of the goals and tactics except for 6. And then they can start formatting it and sliding some photographs in, and, hopefully we can get you a soft copy of something that looks like what our strategic plan is gonna look like at the end.
Are people submitting photographs? I didn't know she was talking about where to
Lisa
send
sent a
photographs.
bunch.
Okay.
Yesterday I submitted to the file. They sent me a link. I submitted all of our brand colors, logos, and multiple photos for them to utilize, aerial pictures, etc. So
Do you have some photographs you'd like to submit?
Oh, no,
Seriously,
I don't.
okay,
We get pictures of my kid, maybe a daisy here and there, yeah.
it's all good.
Nothing, I got nothing.
All right, so, Commissioner Dishmani, I suggest we go ahead and close this. I'll send the stuff off to Mall Foster. We'll get a reply back to you guys, and then on the 19th, we'll reconvene and start working on goal 6 and its tactics.
Yes, I wanna suggest as an alternative, we could address goal 6 probably in our next regular meeting. And not need a special meeting on the 19th. Because it's getting to be a relatively tractable piece of, work to do.
You guys are 99% done.
So what do you think? Would you rather do it on the 19th or on the?
My thought would be was that you guys meet the 19th, figure out 6, then you could do full approval of everything you've done on the 23rd. And say, we approve this all, motion pass, goes to Mall Foster publication.
Perfect, beautiful.
And why we could also on the 19th have a, approval of the draft. It's a draft still, because we're waiting for public input now.
Or do you mean you mean like approve the draft I put into the public packet on the 19th, or?
Well, that's not enough time to.
There's not enough time, yeah, so it'll be, but the idea is we would have an
We
update.
could actually on the
We would-
19th have a
On the
draft.
19th, whatever, like the changes that we approve on the 19th could then be shown. Would there be enough time to get that shown in the 23rd as a late addition to the packet, or?
Well, I think the issue is gonna be what Mall Foster can add in. And
Okay.
so if we approve something on Friday afternoon, can we turn it around by Monday morning?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe,
It may be a minor thing that, 5 minutes, we got this done.
Yeah,
Or it might
I
be-
think it'll be relatively minor, because we're talking about maybe a new list of tactics, but it's not gonna be a major change in the document.
In any case, I think we should keep the 19th, because, I
Okay,
think we do
no, I'm
need
fine with
that, yeah, we do need to keep that space open, and then ideally then have everything done and nothing left to do, but.
So 1 o'clock.
Confirm
Okay, so
the
we'll
23rd.
keep with the 1 o'clock on the 19th, yeah, let's stick with that.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so where are we on our agenda? I guess that's about,
Public comment and
Yeah.
then adjourn.
all right, well, so I'd like to open our last public comment period. Anybody in the room? How about online? Anybody online who would like to make a public comment?
They gave up on us.
They gave up on us, yeah. Okay, well, that closes our second public comment period. We don't have an executive session. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
I've enjoyed working on the strategic plan.
Me too, me too. And I just wanted to say that, you know, I mean, we hash things out, but like all the input, everything is wonderful. That the
Yeah.
work that's been done has been wonderful. So, thanks, everyone. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to close at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Boom. It's like that.
And don't go anywhere